Common mistake number one. A good resume can be used everywhere. How many of you do it? Honest? So many hands. So the common perception is this resume has landed me into my job. I'm being very successful here. So there's every reason for me to use the same successful resume going ahead as well, right? Let me show you a resume. The important point here is the objectives are what should shape your resume. If your objective is to get into a job, that resume has to show a very different side of you. What the employer wants, what the organization wants, you want to show that side of you. When you are, on the other hand, applying to an MBA school, they're not looking for the same things. For example, they're not looking for the skill sets. They're not looking, if you know Java, if you know Python, if you know SQL, they're not looking for those skills. This is one sample. Job resume. And this is part of a 3-page resume. Career summary, 7 lines. Employment, 3 lines. This is what became of this resume a little later. This is a real candidate. I have made the names confidential. But this candidate studied through a top business school in the US, is now working with Coke. The difference, a lot of it came through the resume. I hope that point is getting clear. Let me jump on to the mistake 2. Quantity in a resume, as in the number of bullets, the number of skills, the number of years of experience, the number of points, that is better than the quality of points. Why do a lot of people do this? I tried asking them, and many times the response I got was, I have so many impressive points. So who knows which impressive point may impress them? So I included them all. The other side, I don't have anything impressive in my resume. So I include as many things, I'm sure something will impress them. What really happens is when you include a lot of things, it's like, watching a movie. Romance bhi hai, fight bhi hai, rona bhi hai, everything. The guys who are watching it, they'll pick and choose. Does that happen? You like such a movie? You probably get the picture what I mean. Resumes must emphasize quality. The bullets that you talk about, if they are few and if they have good quality, if they have a certain theme running in there, and of course, if all of it syncs well with the rest of your story, it really makes an impact. Somebody in the previous session said, the person at the other end is a human. So right, you have to impress that human. You have to make that person a champion of your cause. After going through your application, after going through your resume, that person should say, oh, I want this person. So make that quality paramount. Again, a few pictures. This is just one part of the resume. 36 lines. That's for one organization. Can you guess how this got changed and what made this person successful? Total of 5 years, that 36 lines can be done to 13 lines. The reason I'm telling you all this is all of you who say, I have so many qualities, I have so many points, so which one to include, all of that can be shortened. All of that can be shortened. You need to emphasize quality. You need to reduce the quantity. Common mistake number 3, leadership only with high designations. If I'm not a team lead, if I'm not a CEO, if I'm not a top brass, if I don't have 5 people, 10 people, 15 people under me, I cannot display leadership. Any of you who believe in this? Come on, be honest. Yeah? Sorry. So designations have little, if any, correlationship with leadership. Have any of you heard the name of Yash Birla? So he was the scion of, he was the CEO of the Birla house, son of Ashok Birla. The CEO, 4 years, 92% of the market capitalization of the company went down. Do you think he could have quoted leadership? There's a president of a political party that we know. Is that leadership? I would take that as a no, right? My point is, leadership is not constrained to the designations. If you are at a position, or if you are at not even within an organization, but if you take certain initiatives, that can bring a sense of leadership. My favorite example is, within your society, you see an open manhole, you're walking by, you stop. Many people have walked by, they have done nothing, you stop. You call your uncle in the society who used to work with the newspaper. Uncle, there's a manhole open here, can you please, get this published? Uncle says, yes. There's another uncle who's a local don, local hooligan. Boss, can you do something about it? He calls, the people in the city municipality, and somebody is on their way to cover that manhole. Here's my question. Are these uncles, are these people who are much older than you, are they your juniors? Do they report to you? Did you show leadership? Come on, guys, I need more answers. So, the very important takeaway here, if you have to show leadership, there were many examples in the earlier sessions. Don't wait for your boss to give you that mantle, team lead, or that position that you can show leadership. Team lead has got very little to do with leadership alone. Right? So here's can everybody at the back see this and read this? Anybody who cannot read this? Okay. So this is somebody who came to us who said, well, a project that I had worked, this is a resume before they came to us. I work for such and such a big company, large company, and I worked on a major project involving the introduction of pay at hotel features through which customers are able to book at site and pay directly at hotel. I worked as a key developer for the entire project. Is this an example of leadership? Yes? No? Maybe? How about this? I led the creation and implementation of a new stabilized system that reduced mistakes by 80% in applied promotions and discounts and achieved savings of 1,800 man-hours annually. I led this team. Is this leadership? Do both the points look similar? But they are the same point, the same exact point. So do not wait for leadership to come to you. Take that initiative and let it reflect on your resume. So I want you to, when you go out and anybody tells you, boss, tu kya leadership show karega? Tell them we can. Yes? Another mistake. Content in the resume is important. Language doesn't matter. So I'll just let two pictures do the talking. I think that is connecting better with you. So this is another guy in a very large company. I was the engineering project leader for the development activities of beauty car, just the model of the car I changed, from the design phase to the mass production phase. Language says I was a leader, project leader. Fair enough? How does this language change? Collaborated with 12 teams of 340 members across India, Japan, Thailand, and Indonesia to launch car, a $93 billion four-wheeler market, targeting 81,000 customers with estimated $1 billion revenue annually. So I want you to answer, does the language matter? It matters a lot. It can completely redefine your resume. So whenever you think the resume, I have already worked with such and such resume in my current company, that's the resume I could forward, please do yourself a favor. Work on the resume. Work on your resume. All right, yeah? A little louder, please. Is that necessary? No, it is not necessary. So I'll just repeat the question and tell me if I heard your question right. The $93 billion part of the project, is that necessary? Is that what you're asking? Yeah? No, his concern is different. His concern is different. He's saying for your own resume, whatever the figure is, for your specific resumes, is the market segment necessary? So two things. One is, I am showing you just a little bit of the candidate's resume. But there's a if you go through the complete story, this figure sinks in with the rest of the application, right? But in certain places, it is important for you to show what kind of contribution to the proportion have you been able to make. So is it necessary? No. Does it help? Depends on the rest of your application. Answers your question? Good. How many of you have met with people who say, oh, if I use a jargon, industry jargon, then everybody knows that I know. Right? Happens? The more complex jargon I can use, the more knowledgeable I will be. Happens? So what's the truth regarding that? Sorry? Actually, jargon shows you cannot explain. One of the tests that some universities do, if you cannot explain even complex technology to your grandmom, then you are not a good communicator. You have to simplify things, you have to keep it simple. The second part, like I said earlier, like a lot of people said earlier, the person sitting on the other end is also a human. If they cannot understand your bullets, why would they care? Why would they take a risk with you? Pictures with this? Again, an actual clip from an actual candidate. Got into a top B school in the US. So this is an actual clip. I don't know how to read it. 5th is written as 5ST. 5th December 2012, involved in FAT software and hardware testing and network setup of DCS and JP supercritical power project. Does it make sense to you? To me, it doesn't. What is DCS? What is FAT? How does this bring about impact? This is not being able to communicate the kind of impact that this candidate is being able to make. Look at a different way of representing the same. This was my position, graduate engineer trainee, chosen for the elite 15 team from 60 GETs to receive training from so-and-so, constituted the project team for design and engineering of control systems for first power plant project taken by L&T on turnkey basis. So this is doing away with much of the jargon, yet bringing about a way to say how important this project was. All the jargon written earlier, the FAT, the software and hardware testing, network setup of DCS, all of that is about how important this project was. The truth is none of the language actually communicated how important this was. So, to communicate the importance, please make your language simple. That communicates importance like nothing else does. This is a mistake that I would again say please avoid. Don't get creative with format. When you're going to a nice party, when you dress soberly, you don't dress in what I call the Govinda way. Yellow here, Jinchaks there. So just keep something that the way the AdCom looks for, the admissions committees, it makes it easier for them to go through the resume. So don't get creative with the format. Here's a part of a creative format that I've given. Again, this is not very creative, but giving it in 2 different columns, giving the details of what skills, what embedded systems I know of. Dude, that does not create a sense of importance. That does not create a perception of importance. It confuses. It confuses the AdCom, and they do not want to devote so much time or take so much risk with you. So they move on. By the way, just one quick number I remembered. So I'll give 4 options. What is the average time, and I mean average time you think people devote to resumes, people as in, the evaluator devotes to resumes? Whoa. So you've probably devoted, several weeks to preparing a resume. The person should go through it at least for 1 hour, right? So the next was 50 seconds? 30 seconds, 1 minute? 6 seconds is the average. In 6 seconds, you don't make the cut. So again, I am bringing that back to this point. Do not get creative. Creativity may score you a point, not in this place. This is the wrong place to show your creativity.